Greetings gamers, FiOth here, and today I will be making a guide to explain to each one of you how this game's progression mechanics are supposed to function. The game doesn't exactly do the worst of jobs when it comes to how your character can develop, but there is just so much stuff in here, it can be a bit nauseating. Yesterday I streamed the game for the better part of 8 hours, and I was able to understand some of what's going on. Today I sat my ass down, configured some stuff about guilds and teams and all that, and then I took a deep dive into all these interconnected systems in order to get a better understanding and transfer my knowledge to you. Speaking of which, when it comes to guild crafting and teams, you can join our Discord, the link for which you'll find in the description below. There's a channel there and you can find like-minded individuals to play the game with, or just participate to exchange builds, ideas, thoughts and so on and so forth. Every single one of you is welcome. Please try to behave. So let's start with the real simple stuff. You open your character tab, and as you progress the game, more stuff will be added into this, whatever it is, into this collection of clickables, let's say. The most important one is the develop tab that you see right here. But one thing that has to be understood is this little red dot that you see right here. Because this little red dot means that somewhere in the following tab, let's say in this battle pass, there is something that will help you advance your character probably. So here it says obtain 1,000 jadefish. I surpass this, I click claim all, and I get something to work towards my battle pass, which will eventually unlock something else. So in order to have the tools to advance, you have to always have a look at what's pointed with this red marker, go and claim it. And it's a ton. Every time you log into the game, you'll have letters, you have these annotations, you'll have some other pop-up. You can go to their website and grab stuff from there as well. So by utilizing all of this, you're able to have as many tools as possible to advance the character, okay? So let's go into develop proper. What's happening here? First and foremost, we have the gear tab. This is the most straightforward. You go into this, and here is the stats tab for the currently equipped piece of gear, and down here is everything else that I own, okay? This is a purple item, these are blue or green, which means that the purple item will always be better. These items have a level requirement. So I was lucky to get this drop, and it states that I need 30 constitution in order to equip it. I only have 17. I don't understand how this dropped for me. It's a purple tier 41 item, but I cannot use it yet. It has certain requirements. Everything that has requirements that you've already met, you can equip it right away. And it has to be underlined that every single weapon, the same tier as its peers, will have the exact same gear tier as the ones next to it, which means that this is a 10 gear tier item. It will do the analogy of the damage of all of its same level weapons, of course divided into different increments, because dual swords strike fast, but a large sword will do more damage per hit. What you want to pay attention to is this number right here, and if you're going for builds, you want to check the set, but this is more advanced stuff, way beyond the scope of this vid. So here I have my Stormveil long spear. As you can see, I have other Stormveil long spears like this one, but this is simply of a lower tier. We want to keep this because it's the best. After that, you can equip whatever you want to use. Make sure you go after the highest mastery stat so you get the best possible stats that you can. Now, let's say you have equipped this Stormveil dual blades and a spear. Okay, do not underestimate the fact that these systems are extremely convoluted, and I'm gonna explain exactly what I mean. So you go into abilities, and here we have a spear, and here we have twin blades. The name of the spear is nameless, and the name of the twin blades is infernal, but this is not the item description, is the discipline when we are using it. So go into infernal twin blades, and here you can find the disciplines available, okay? Some are for spear, some are for fans, some are for the strategic sword, and so on and so forth. As you can see, I have two spear stances. I have the Stormbreaker and I have the Nameless. So the leftmost part of the title of the weapon actually implies a specific discipline, and the second one implies what kind of weapon it is. So Nameless is, as you can see here, a melee DPS ability, and Stormbreaker is a tank ability. This will come in handy and will become much more important as we advance and have to tackle more difficult content. Here we have, let's say, Nameless Sword, and if you go lower you can fight Strategic Sword, and so on and so forth. So what you actually have equipped is a piece of generic gear which functionality is determined by the discipline you have equipped here in your martial arts. Okay, under this is the inner way and the mystic skills, but we'll get to them in a bit after we're done with the gear. Going back to the gear, how do you enhance your combat prowess as you improve the character? Here is your current power level. It's 4077 in my case, and you can click details and you'll see everything here broken down akin to how Neo used to do it. You know, a lot of information, but you don't necessarily need everything here in order to be effective. What you absolutely need to do is enhance, and you can enhance through this tab or any gear piece tab, or you can just go to average level. Now what does this do? You expand resources to improve the slot where the weapon or piece of gear will go. We're actually talking about the physical space it will take up in your inventory and not the equipped item, which boggles the mind, but this is just how it is. So what happens here? My average level right now is 4 because every single one of my pieces is at level 4, and you need specific materials in order to upgrade the slot in question. Usually the weapons require the same thing, and then the pieces of gear require a specific family of materials. Let's say my armor requires these two, accessories requires these two, money is always a requirement, don't even want to mention that, and weapons require these two. Let's say I'm going to my helm, okay? Applies to helm. It doesn't say that it applies to this specific beanie here, it applies to health. So if I upgrade this, I'll get more HP, and I will. So this is upgraded, okay? It says now equip level 31 gear to continue upgraded. Now this is level gated. I cannot go any further than this. Up to this point in what gear I've been able to find, level 5, the highest I can attain, is pretty much the best I can get, and I will have to upgrade every single one of my pieces of gear to increase my average and thus the effectiveness of my character. This wraps it up pretty much for the gear. Now, abilities. You might be wondering why you see people running around throwing bears into piles of rubble. This ties into your mystic arts. When you start, you will have only this slot on the left, and you won't have any abilities. You can click on this and see what they are, but as long as they're locked, you cannot use them. What happens? These abilities are all gained by interacting with NPCs or spying on creatures to perform a skill theft. That's a mini game where you just perceive the location of a creature or a character, you either talk to them or you just approach them, you'll get a prompt, and that will tell you to complete a mini game. If you manage to complete the mini game, you will steal their ability, you will be able to replicate their ability, and then you can socket these into these pallets of shortcuts. Now, how do you get these slots? This is a very good question. You go to talents. You will start getting talent points pretty early in the adventure, and by opening these slots, you will be able to socket more stuff. As you can see right here, it says Mystic Skill slot. It is unlocked. One more slot. Another slot here. Keep advancing. Another slot here. And so on and so forth. So until you are able to unlock these slots, you can only socket so much, initially just one, and you have to gain these abilities by interacting with stuff in the environment as you progress in order to grab the goods and be able to equip them, okay? Now, also super important is the inner way. The inner way will incrementally be unlocked. Some of these abilities will just be given to you as part of tutorials or story progression, like the steadfast stance. Whereas you have to initially grab the blueprint from the environment like Shadow Assault, then you click Comprehend and you will spend a consumable currency like this tome, in order to advance it. Certain abilities require certain tomes, but from what I have been able to understand so far, there is generic consumables in the game that can advance other tomes. I don't know if this is true 100% because this game is a bottomless pit. I'll have to keep progressing to make sure this is a fact, and I will update the comment section or the description if this is so in the future. You gain this, you invest in them after you find your blueprint, and then you can slot them here. Of course, these slots will have to be unlocked as well. Improvement path level up in solo mode, and eventually you'll be able to socket more stuff in. Now there is another super important thingy, and this is tied to a specific NPC, and that NPC can be found early in the game, in the first region, in the Verdant Wilds, right after the first Wayfarer, and it's this guy. The guy who gives you the melodies of peace. It's this dude right here, Ki Sheng. We talk to him, and he'll say some mumbo jumbo, and then you submit oddities. Oddities are a variety of things you will find in the environments, like those weird butterflies, for example, or specific materials. It is a pretty huge ass tree, as you can see, okay? It's huge, humongous. But this is super important because each one of its phases, starting from here, will unlock abilities for weapons and also your base stat upgrades. Physical defense, max endurance, max HP, max physical attack, and so on and so forth. The priority you give to this is not very important because they're pretty much next to each other. You know, after this comes this. If you want to go to this first, fine, but eventually you'll need to unlock this as well. Why would you leave it on the table? It's free stats. So you give it various materials like Iron Mantis, Enchanting Lotus, Red Mist Beetle, Dagger General, Whispering Hive. These are the mini games you perform in the environment with various plants and bugs, and then you give them to this dude, and this dude will upgrade your character when it comes to flat stats and certain abilities. And that's the gist of it. That is the gist of everything you need just to get started in this game. I know it feels like a lot because it is. It is layers upon layers of a shitload of stuff in order to progress, but you need to understand this. You need to wrap your head around this if you want to make progress. Of course, the leveling system is very straightforward apart from all this. Like, you do stuff, you gain XP, and you come in here and you just see the number go up, and this progressively gives you access to more stuff. Let's say talent points. If you see this annotation on top of your head, you go in, go to this tab, and click on all achievements, because this will give you, you guessed it, more consumables to progress with the character. It is an endless cycle of getting stuff out of these annotations and reinvesting them into your character or into buying stuff to upgrade, let's say, weapons. As I said, and this is super important, the weapons themselves are not upgradable. Only legendary tier stuff or higher tier stuff, I don't want to call it legendary because that might not be the way the game pronounces it, but only higher tier stuff can be tuned to do specific things and progress into deeper build crafting. These are all throwaway items. You get them, you use them, and then you discard them, okay? But the upgrades that come in the martial arts tab is an improvement upon the discipline, and this never goes to waste. So upgrade disciplines, upgrade talents, and enhance the stuff here in your enhanced tab, because this enhances your proficiency with using something in this slot for your character. This is pretty much it. It seems like a lot, it's a bit complex, but once you grasp the basics, you will be able to improve your character in no time. I hope this helped, guys. I will be covering this game in great detail and stream it if these vids do well. So sub, like, hit the notification bell, join our Discord, as I said, if you want to find more like-minded individuals to play this with, and until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!